chair at some point, something to use as a strap. So it could be an exercise strap or anything long. It could even be a towel. And I always like to have blocks, a blanket, and you might want something extra soft today, like a pillow or an extra blanket. All right, we're gonna start seated. You can sit up on, I like to sit on a pillow. Your legs can be, for right now, however you want them to be. Okay, so I just have one leg straight because this knee's been giving me a little trouble. You could also sit against a wall if you'd like. All right, just so, or even a couch to give your back some support. Of course, you could always be in a chair too. All right, so to begin, just notice your space. Kind of look around your space a little bit. Let your eyes find maybe 3 different objects that you settle on for a few moments each, noticing the details of the object. Describe the color of it or the shape or the texture. Notice the light in your room. And what I mean is just like shadows, light, texture. Maybe take a sigh or two, wiggle around a little bit. And then notice the places you're making contact with the floor. The floor or your seat, if you're on a chair. And is there any part of your body that you could release to gravity a little bit more? Anything you feel like you're holding up, could you begin to soften? And then let's take a wide inhale. You can breathe in through your nose. And then let's blow out through pursed lips like you're blowing out through a straw slowly. Let's do that again. A wide inhale. And a long exhale out through pursed lips. See if you can get every last bit of air out one more time like that. Good, and then you can breathe however you want. Let's just try to breathe with awareness. So noticing your breath as it comes in. Maybe it's staying wide, and then noticing your breath as it goes out. See if you can keep that breath long if possible. It can be out through mouth or nose. And then let's just start to circle the torso around. So if you're against a piece of furniture, just scoot away from it. And circling around, these can be big or small circles, noticing how it changes your contact with the floor. And you might also be noticing any tightness or stiffness through your low back or your hips or your legs. Then circle the opposite way. Good, and then back to the center here. Let's bring the soles of the feet together. So it can really help to be up on something for this. Your hands could either be behind your back, kind of propped up, or you could be against a wall, right, to get that lift. Or you could even put your hands on your ankles here. And we're just aiming to sit upright if possible. If you need a prop beneath your knees, like a block or a pillow, you can do that too. See how tall you can get, bringing the back of your head in line with your upper back. And then feel the breath go in and out. One more breath there. Okay, then let's straighten your legs out. I don't know, wiggle them around a little bit. All right, now we're gonna have to come off of any blankets or blocks here. And let's take one leg folded forward. Okay, so notice I've got my knee bent in front and then my knee bent with my foot behind me. Okay. And well, maybe we should do the same side so I don't get confused in telling you what we're doing. So I've got my right leg in front. All right, so let's do that. Now you might need a blanket below your elbow. What we're going to do is place the right elbow down on the floor. Now, I've got it right outside my right hip here, okay? If this bothers your elbow, just put something soft underneath it, all right? Now, with the back hand, the left hand, I'm gonna put it on my back hip, all right? And as I inhale, I'm gonna inhale and lift the chest toward the ceiling, almost like I'm turning toward the ceiling. And then as I exhale, I'm going to round, looking at my right hand as though I could take my left shoulder down toward the hand, but I'm not going to let my left hip move. And then inhale, look toward the ceiling again. So this left hip, you guys, and you might want to watch me do a couple of these. We haven't done these in a while. So this left hip is not going to move, right? So as I inhale and lift, I'm going to stay here. As I exhale, I'm going to keep that left hip. So instead of doing this, look, I could come down, but I'm not letting that happen because I'm keeping that hip back there. I'm rounding my upper back. And then I'm going to inhale, lift the chest again, keeping that left hip still. And exhale, round the upper back. Turn towards your right. Repeat a couple more. Okay, now next time that you fold, let's just come back to the center and sit up. Now, some of you might have had problems just sitting like this in general. So right now, let's lean back and lift the knees up. So see, I just kept my feet on the floor, and I was going to windshield wiper the knees side to side. Now again, let's come back to this right side in front and sit up tall. Okay, so I'm just, right leg is in front, left leg is behind. Maybe you can move the left knee back a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna inhale here and exhale. You can use your hands for support. I'm going to extend my spine forward and maybe lean forward a little bit. And then inhale, rise back up. Okay, and exhale, hinge forward. Now you might not be able to hinge forward, okay? So you just do what you can here. Inhale back up and exhale, hinge. If you can't hinge forward, you could do a figure 4 stretch on your back. Okay, now, next time you come up, let's stay up and see if you can keep your left knee on the floor and try to lift the left foot off the floor. Now, in order to do this, I leaned to the right a little bit. You can see I'm kind of leaning forward. If you don't need to do that, you can stay in the center. You can see I have a lot less range, right? So this is getting that internal hip rotation. So just go gentle with it. You might get a cramp in your hip too. Yeah, right, you feeling that? Yeah, because we're working them, okay? We're working those internal hip rotators on that back leg. Okay, now let's put it back. Could you lean to your right? You can use your right hand on the floor and bring that back leg forward and set it out straight. Now, if you need a block beneath this knee, you could always put it there, okay? So I'm facing my left leg. I'm gonna inhale, sit up tall. And then exhale, I'm going to hinge forward maybe toward the straight leg. And then inhale back up. So we're just doing some dynamic movement and stretches here. Exhale, lean, and they're good warm-ups, right? They The longer stretches tend to increase your flexibility, it increase your range of motion, and the shorter stretches tend to just get you moving, get things warmed up and prepped for later. Okay, one more time. Good. Raising back up now, we're just going to switch sides. So now the left knee will bend in the front and the right knee will come back behind. We're going to start with our elbow down variation. So this is an upper back kind of opener. So I'm going to put that left elbow down next to my left hip. You can pat it if necessary. Right hand comes to hip. Okay, so that's to keep that right hip there. I'm going to inhale, turn my chest toward the ceiling, rolling my right shoulder back. And then as I exhale, I'm going to keep that right hip where it is as I turn my chest to face the floor on the left and my right shoulder rounds forward. Without moving the hip, let's repeat several times. Okay, now next time you turn to face the floor, let's slowly lift up. Good. Now we're going to face our knee with our chest. Hands can come in front somewhere. Inhale, sit up tall. Exhale, you can try extending the spine forward and folding. And then inhale, rise back up, just coming in and out a few times. You also don't have to fold. You might be getting a stretch just from sitting like that. Good. Now next time you come up, now we'll try that internal rotation on the back. So we're going to keep that back knee down, and you can lean a little to the left to help and see if you can lift that back foot off the floor. So you're internally rotating your back hip. You want it to be somewhat of a challenge, so you can try to stay upright if it's easy. You might notice if this side feels different than the first side. Keep breathing. Okay, and now from here, I'm going to bring that back leg forward. So you've got the back leg, the right leg going straight out, left knee out to side. You can prop it if it's better for you. Okay, we're going to turn to face that straight leg. Inhale, sit up tall. Might be getting enough stretch right here, or you might hinge. And we're just going to come in and out again. We'll inhale up and exhale, hinge. Good, and then come up. Let's straighten out both legs again. Just wiggle the knees around. Let's roll the ankles a few times in each direction. All right, now we're going to come onto one side, and you could have, let's have your knees stacked at about a 45-degree angle, okay? And you could come down onto forearm, or you could come down further and prop the head. Okay, what we're going to look for here is that the hips are stacked straight up and down. So what I mean by that is, I could kind of roll my top hip back like this, right? Instead of doing that, if someone were to come up behind me with a 2x4 right behind my sacrum, it would be straight up and down, okay? Now, I'm going to keep the feet together, the inner feet, and we're going to inhale, opening that top leg a little bit like a clamshell, and then closing it, and repeat. Now, when we do this, I'm going to try to do this without letting the hip roll back. So if I let that hip roll back, I can get a lot wider, but I'm not going to be working the muscles we're after, okay? So we're going to keep that 2x4 feeling right behind the back here, up and down. Try to relax your jaw. You can even put your hand on your hip to feel here. Okay, now next time you open, just do little pulsing motions here so you start to really fatigue that muscle. Those, again, hip rotators, rotating a different way, out. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, now let's bring that knee down. Now we're going to have a different starting point. So now we're going to take the knees and feet off of one another. So they're parallel. My shins are parallel. This is our new starting place. You can also put your hand on your hip to make sure you don't roll back. So from this place, I do a clamshell. I open the knee and close. And you could exhale, open, inhale, close, or vice versa. It's a small movement, but right away, I'm really working those glute muscles. I can feel it. You might feel it in the outer thigh as well. Can do several more, trying to get a lot of fatigue, and then we're going to do the pulses, okay? For 4, 3, 2, and 1, let the knees come down. Let's roll onto the back with the knees bent for a moment. I'm just keeping my head on my block here. I'm going to inhale, reach the left leg up toward the ceiling, then bend the knee in a figure 4 stretch. And you can simply press the left knee out to the side, or you could lift the right foot off the floor and thread the needle here, holding behind the right leg. Okay, either one is fine. Or just opening up that muscle we just stretched. Worked. A couple more breaths here. So these clamshell exercises, I guess not really a yoga pose per se. I don't think I've seen a yoga pose with them, but I like to do them a lot for strengthening the glutes. They're excellent exercises. And you can even do them with bands, like stretchy bands, around just above the knee once you get proficient at them with no weight, okay, with proper alignment. All right, let's roll over to the other side. So you can come out of the stretch, or you can also flip yourself around. That's what I'm going to do. So other side, knees at about a 45-degree angle or so. We've got our shoulders stacked. We've got our hips stacked. I'm going to take my top hand to my hip and then begin. Inhale, open, exhale, close, or vice versa, without letting that top hip roll back. And doing little pulses. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. Coming down for a moment. All right, now we'll do the lifted top leg. So parallel knees and ankles, right? Keeping that hand there so you don't roll the hip back, opening clamshell from there and closing back to that parallel position, not touching, okay? Okay, let's do our little pulses. For 4, 3, 2, and 1, coming down and then onto the back in this upside down pigeon pose. Okay, crossing the ankle. Either staying here, pressing the knee out, or lifting that left foot off the floor. Taking some wide inhales and long exhales. Good, and then you can release and either roll to your side and come up, or you can rock yourself up here. Okay, now for this next one, you'll want either your block or your couch or a piece of furniture. Let me show you. And also your padding for your knee. Okay, so I'm gonna show with the block, and then I'll show with the chair. You might also need some balance support. So first, we're not going to use the block or chair. So first, I'm just going to come up into a half kneel like this. Okay, let's have the left foot back, right leg forward. Now, if you're already wobbly here, you might want something next to you, like your furniture, to hold on to. Make sure your back knee does not hurt, so you've got enough padding there for it, all right? So we're in a version of kind of a lunge, but we're at 90-degree angles. So the back hip's over the back knee, all right? Now we're gonna tuck your pelvis under. So tucks forward like your pubic bone lifts up here. So this is more of a hip stretch. And then we're gonna take the back of the right hand on the inside of the right knee. Unless you're holding for balance, in which case just hold, okay? And I'm gonna press my knee into my hand into my knee as I engage my back glute and tuck my tail, okay? I'm gonna reach the left arm up, inhale, and then exhale, keeping all that going on. I'm gonna lean a little bit to the right. Okay, keep tucking the tail, and hopefully you're feeling a stretch in the front of the back hip. Big wide inhale, long exhale. Keep pressing hand to knee, knee to hand, tucking pelvis under, a couple more breaths. And then inhale, rising up, and exhale, release your arm down. Let's switch sides, okay? You can bring the right knee back, left knee forward. Again, you'd want now, if you're using something for balance, you'd want it on your left side. Okay, you can just put your left hand there. Otherwise, you're gonna tuck the tail, okay, engage the back glute. And if you're not using for something for balance, back of left hand goes inside a left knee. Pressure against one another. Keep that tail tucked. Feel it in the front of the hip, hopefully. Inhale, right arm stretches up. And then exhale a little lean to the left with keeping all the other things going on. Several breaths here. Good, and then inhale up. Exhale, arm comes down. All right, let me show you the setup for the next one. It's going to be similar with a knee on something, but you could also use a piece of furniture. I like something like a couch or a soft chair because it has something below it typically. So I'm going to show it with that, but I'm also going to show it with the block. So I'm just going to move this thing over to show it here. Okay, so if I were to do it like this, I'm gonna do the left leg back first. I'd have the padding, and then you see I would put my foot up on the chair. You see how it's just resting on any part of the chair or couch. Now, if I'm less flexible, I'm gonna move further away so it's not too much on my quad. If I'm more flexible, I might even be this close. So I might be right here, right? With all that, if it doesn't hurt your knee, this close to the chair. Okay, so you do what's right for you. And then the second way to do it would be, and you might need balance support too, to use some sort of block or similar, okay? And then your foot could go up on that block and you can get a great stretch here too, okay? I'm gonna show it this way, but again, the foot could be on the chair too, or the couch. It's called the couch stretch often. That's not the yoga name, but more of a PT name, all right? So you get your foot on something behind you. We're gonna do that same tuck of the pelvis, okay, that we did in the last one. Now the stretch will hopefully be more in the quadricep. Again, we don't want any pain in the knee. So say you're just feeling pain in the knee and you can't get out of your pain in the knee. Do a quad stretch however you wanna do it. Right? You could do a standing quad stretch. You could do whatever you need to do to feel a quadricep stretch. All right? So what I'm going to do, even if I'm standing, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to tuck my pelvis forward. Okay? And just stand tall. Okay? I am engaging my back glute and I'm breathing. So I'm doing long, wide inhales, long exhales. If I were doing this standing, it would be here, but I'm still tucking the tail forward. Knees are next to one another, right? Okay, and let's keep going. Stay on the same side you're on. I'm gonna add something in. So what I'm gonna add in here is kicking your foot either into your hand if you're standing, or into your block or your chair. So you're kicking it down for 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're gonna try to lift. I have to move my knee away a little bit actually to show this. Then I'm gonna try to lift my foot off of the chair. So if you were standing and your hamstring, my hamstring just engaged. So if I was standing, I'd kick into my into my hand, and then I'd try to take the hand away and keep it there, squeezing it in. Okay, a couple more of these, kicking down into the hand or down into the chair, and then trying to lift it off the chair or away from your hand. One more, and your hamstring might cramp up, but we're trying to strengthen and open up all these muscles. Good, and then release and switch sides. Okay, so if you're standing, you can either stay standing or maybe you can do it on your knee on this side, who knows. I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna move a little bit further away from my chair. Remember, you can use another block or object too. Okay, so I'm tucking the tail forward, engaging the back glute, and breathing. Few more breaths like that. Okay, and now we're gonna kick the foot into the hand or the chair for 1, 2, 3, 4, and then try to lift it off for 1, 2, 3. Whoo, I got a hamstring cramp on that one. All right, and then again, kick it down, kick it into the hand or the chair or object, and then try to lift it off. Good, and then just go back to your stretch for a moment. All right, coming on out, let's just stand ourselves up. Now, you can't get anything out of your way that might have been in your way. I'm gonna bring the chair at the front of your space. Just at the front of your mat here. Just step a little bit side to side. Now let's inhale, reach the arms toward the ceiling. And exhale, let's hinge at the hips and fold. Hands can come to chair. Inhale, reaching your chest forward. It's okay to have your knees bent. And then exhale, we're gonna forward fold. Okay, now, you might feel better reaching your chest forward and staying like this, right? Or you might want to go further and fold down, hands toward floor. what we're trying to feel is a stretch on the back of the legs. Okay, so wherever that is for you can be your spot, as long as you don't have any pain in your back. Couple more breaths here. Good, and then when you're ready, let's inhale, extend your spine forward. Exhale, bend the knees, and then inhale, stand up. And exhale, arms out to the sides and down. All right, let's just do a few ankle raises. I know we did a lot with the feet and ankles last week, working the lower legs and such, so you can always check that out. But right now we're just doing a little bit of balance and warm up for the ankles and calves. Okay, coming down. Let's take right leg forward with your toes hidden beneath the seat of the chair. Left leg, a couple feet back, maybe 3 feet, with your feet hip distance apart. So it's going to be in a warrior one stance here, okay? Front knee will bend with both heels touching, and then inhale, straighten. Okay, let's repeat. You can just organize where you are on your mat, like if you need to move further or closer to the chair. Notice when I bend, I'm staying upright. Unless it hurts your back, it might feel good to lean forward if it bothers your back. Okay. And can you feel the 3 corners of your feet like we were working on last time? The ball of big toe, ball on the outer part of the ball, and then the center of the heel pressing down. Now let's keep the knee bent. I'm just going to show you something. So my knee is bending here. Can you move your right hip even with your left? So you might be having your right hip forward like this. So you're going to take your right hip back. You see that? And just leave it here. So if I had a flashlight on the front of each hip, they'd be shining straight ahead. Okay, good. Inhale here. Exhale. Inhale. And as you exhale, let's take our hands down to the chair. We're still going to keep that right hip scooted back like we just practiced. I'm actually going to slide my chair a little forward so my foot's out from underneath. You could also step back. And now, keeping everything the same, not too much weight on your hands, can you begin to lift that back leg off the floor, still keeping both hips facing the floor. It's okay to have that right knee still bent. Just have the weight in the heel of the front foot. So can you tap the right toes? That's how you can tell if you're in the heel. So if I had my weight in the ball of the foot, I wouldn't be able to lift off of it, right? Okay, one more breath here. And then come back, putting the back foot down, back to your warrior one. Let's take the arms up. Inhale. Good. Exhale, stay here. Inhale. Another breath. And then exhale, step forward. Good. Just notice how you feel. It can wiggle around a little bit. Now, left leg steps forward, right leg back. Maybe you don't need the toes under the chair, even for the fold forward. So you can kind of gauge where you want to be. 3 corners of both feet touching down. Let's just go through bending and straightening a few times. Just kind of finding the right placement for your own body. Inhaling, straightening, exhaling, bending. Good. Now, next time you bend, let's stay there and organize the hips, right? So flashlights on the front here. The left hip scoots back, even with the right. And now from here, let's hinge forward. And just pause there for a moment, noticing how you feel through your legs and hips. Scooting that left hip back still. Inhale. And exhale, you can start to lift that back leg off the floor. Front leg can stay bent, and let's take the weight to the front heel. So you can tap the toe. Relax your neck and shoulders, not really much weight on the hands here. Couple more breaths. And come back down, foot to the floor. Let's come into warrior one again. You could take the arms up if you'd like. 3 corners of the feet down for 3 breaths. Good, and then stepping forward. All right, noticing how you feel. Okay, now for this next, you'll want either the wall or your chair on your side. Some of you have already done this. We're going to do baby dancer pose, which is that standing quad stretch. Okay, if you can't reach your foot, you could use a strap to hold your foot. So either side, I'm just going to show it with my left. And I have the wall there. I'm going to stand up tall, finding something to look at with my eyes. Inhale. And then exhale, I'm going to bring my outer foot up into my hand. Okay, and even if you've done it before, just go for it again. Nothing wrong with repeating it, right? You want to stretch these major muscle groups about, 3 times 30 seconds a week at least, or a few times a week. So I'm showing it with the strap now. And you're going to first try to move the knees next to one another and tuck the tail under. Okay, let's do a couple more breaths there. And release. Okay, step side to side. You can spin around so the wall or the chair is on your other side now. I'm going to show it just with my hand. I'm going to lift the outer leg, get your focal point. So you're trying to get those knees so they're lined up next to one another if you can. And tuck the tail so you're going to lifting the pubic bone forward and breathe. All right, release. Okay, now you're going to want the wall or the chair in front of you. Okay, you don't need the strap for this one, but you might in a moment. So for this one, I'm going to step my right leg forward with the wall in front. I'm going to lift my back leg up off the floor. See this? So I'm not going to grab the foot. Wow, I'm really getting hamstring cramps today. So you might be feeling that too. Depends on how, I don't know what's going on with that muscle for me. I'm going to lift it up. Do you see how I'm leaning a little bit forward? And I'm trying to lift my leg up high. And if you get a hamstring cramp, just straighten it out and come back into it. Good. And I'm trying to keep my hips facing forward. A couple more breaths there. Working that hamstring and the glute. If it hurts your back, just lean more forward like this, right? So you're not trying to lift your chest as much. All right, and then come out. You could always stay with the first quad stretch and just do a repeat. All right, other side. Standing in front of your chair or wall, step the other leg forward, lift the back knee, bending it. Foot going toward the ceiling a little or a lot and trying to keep the hips square. So if your back hurts from trying to keep chest lifted, just let the back relax a little bit and just try to lift the knee. Good. release. Let's do a little swing and twist. All right, now you could use a strap or your hand to grab the foot this time. We're going to do the same thing, just with holding the foot. All right, strap or hand. Going to step one leg forward. That hand can come to the wall. The other hand's going to reach for the foot. And then we're going to try to lift the knee up. So I'm just going to bring it up behind. And notice as I do that, I'm letting my chest or myself hinge in the hip a little bit. Can try to keep the chest lifted so it's more back bendy. But if that bothers your back, you can take that out of it. Okay, kick that foot into your hand. Now also open up your shoulder. Let's take a couple more breaths there, dancer pose. And release. Shake it out a little bit. Let's do the second side. Facing your chair or your wall, you're gonna step the other leg forward. That hand can hold on. Back leg comes up, reaching for the foot with strap or hand, and then you're gonna kick that foot back into your hand or strap, which will open up the shoulder and chest. If that's too much, just lean forward more. Relax the back more. A couple more breaths there. Trying to turn your hips toward the floor. Relax your jaw and release. All right, either a swing and a twist again, or you might want to hula hoop. Good work, you guys. So working on some balance and big openings and strengthenings here. All right, let's come back to your mat area if you'd left, right? You're gonna inhale, reach the arms up. You can use your chair or not to come toward the floor. We're gonna exhale, fold forward. You can bend the knees, bringing the legs down to the floor. We're gonna have a seat. You're gonna use your chair in a little bit, so you wanna keep it here. Okay, so boat pose, Navasana. So you can either hold behind your legs like this, or you can put your hands behind your back like this, okay? You might need to lean onto forearms. What we're gonna do is inhale, lift the chest, and exhale, see if you can lift one or both feet off the floor. Now, behind the legs looks like this. I'm gonna try to keep my chest open and my collarbones wide. And a breathe. So I'm having to balance. Some people's tailbones bother them in this. You could put padding there if you want. You can also try to straighten the legs if you want. You could also try to let go if you want. Keep breathing. And release. Bring the legs down. You can take the soles of feet together and open up the knees for a moment. We're going to do that twice more. All right, here we go. Set yourself up. Remember, I'll show it this way this time. You can inhale, widen across the chest, and then exhale, tilt back a bit, lifting the legs up. You could always do one at a time, especially if your back bothers you. Try to engage the abdominals here. You're working the hip flexors too. Keep breathing. And release, feet down. You can open up the knees if you'd like. We just got one more of those. All right, here we go. Knees together. Remember, all the options. Come into it when you're ready. And release, feet down. You can open up the knees one last time and breathe. All right, we're going to use the seat of the chair for our heels. So you may need a padding for your chair if it's a hard chair. You're going to want your strap close by, and for now we're not going to use anything below the head for this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm gonna come onto my back and my heels are on my chair with my legs at a 90-degree angle, more or less, at the hip and knee. Okay, more or less. Arms at your sides. So we're gonna try to feel is as I push my heels straight down into the chair, I can feel the backs of my legs working right here. Okay, boom, they're on. And you can touch yours and try to feel it. So I just pushed my heels straight down, those babies turned on, okay? Now, very slowly, you can take as many breaths as you need. I'm gonna relax my arms at my sides. I'm gonna keep pressing my heels down and then start lifting my hips off the floor. Now, I'm gonna come up pretty high. You don't have to, okay? High as you feel comfortable with, pressing the back of your head down, engaging the backs of your legs the whole time, and then slowly lowering back down. Okay, we're gonna repeat that, okay? So I'm gonna press the heels down, go up very slowly, trying to feel those backs of the legs engage, and as you go down, and you feel it as well. So this is a chair bridge or a hamstring bridge pose. Let's do 2 more. And next time you come down, let's just take the feet to the floor and scoot yourself back away from the chair a bit. Okay. Pause for a moment, inhaling and exhaling. I'm pushing my chair away just so I have more space. I'm gonna have my feet flat on the floor. Now, shoulder blades down your back. I'm gonna press into the feet and lift the hips off the floor in a bridge, engaging your glutes. So really feel those glutes, tighten up, and then exhale back down. Okay. Now maybe you could take your feet a step forward. And same thing. Inhale up. Engage those glutes. Exhale down. And another step forward. You can lift the toes off the floor and just be on the heels. Inhale up. Tighten the glutes. Exhale down. And walk on the heels this time, a step closer to your hips. Inhale up. Exhale down. Another step closer. Inhale up. Tighten those glutes. Now you could stay up there if you want. Sink the front ribs toward the back ribs and tighten your abdominal muscles. Softening your jaw. Good, and then lowering yourself down. Let's draw your knees in towards your belly. You can hold above or below the knees and just rock a little bit side to side. Okay, now rolling to your side and pressing up, or rock yourself up. Okay, you could also do this one seated in a chair or with your fists on the floor. I'm gonna put my hands flat on the floor, a little bit behind me. Feet about hips distance or a little wider apart. I'm gonna inhale, rolling the shoulder heads back, and exhale, I'm gonna try to lift my hips off the floor, engaging my glutes, pressing down the balls of the feet. and come back down. And then just do several of these. Okay, so you're going to go up and down. Okay, I'm going to show it on a chair too, but you can keep going if you're on the floor. Going up and down, noticing, can you engage the glutes? Get everything working on the chair. You got your hands on the side, and you lift up like that. Okay, a little less weight. Okay, you can do a few more. You might be resting. Good, and when you're ready to come down, just locate your strap, come down onto your back, and let's just roll the wrists around in a circle. And then roll them in the other direction. And then spread the fingers and just kind of move the fingers around and roll them as well. Now let's open the arms wide, palms up, out from the shoulders, and stretch the fingers away from the hand. Stretch the hand away from the elbow. Stretch the elbows away from the shoulders and just feel a little nerve glide there. And then exhale, soften everything. Now let's turn the palms down toward the floor and do the same thing. Stretch fingers away from wrists, wrists away from elbows, elbows away from shoulders. Keep breathing. And then soften everything. All right, locating your strap or your towel. And put the strap around the bottom of the right foot. And then extend that leg up toward the ceiling straight. If you can get it straight. Okay, you can either have your left leg bent or you could straighten it on the floor. You might find that you need to do some movements here. You might be ready to hold. I like to have my arms straight with my shoulders relaxed and on the floor, but you could hold it a different way too. As you inhale, can you allow your belly to expand? All right, now let's take both ends of the strap in your left hand. You can take your right arm and reach it out to the right on the floor. I'm going to bring this leg across your body a little bit, just until you feel a change in the stretch. Outer leg somewhere or hip. And breathe. Try to soften that jaw. And then as you're ready, bringing it back up to center, releasing the leg, and straighten out both legs on the floor here. And just pause for a moment, noticing the difference in sensation on the two sides. And then bending right leg and bending left leg on the bottom of the left foot, placing your strap, and then extending the leg up. Your right leg can stay bent or you could straighten it. Slow, relaxed breaths. right, then taking both ends of the strap in your right hand, extending left arm to the side. Your right leg could stay bent, or it might feel better to straighten it, up to you. And then bringing the leg over to the right, just enough till you feel a change in the stretch. That might just be a little bit. And try to keep the breath calm. All right, back to the center. Let's release. Set the strap to the side and pause. Good. Now you can finish here in Shavasana, or you might like to do some sort of chest opener. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, so if you're going to do some sort of chest opener, just to counteract kind of leaning forward all day or being rounded, you could either use your 2 blocks, as I've done with you guys before, or you could do a folded up blanket. So I'm going to do this time. And use my folded up blanket, kind of narrow my upper back. And you'll need something else beneath your head. So you could use a block or another pillow or blanket beneath the head. Arms spread out. The idea here is that your chest is higher than your shoulders. Knees can be bent or straight. I'll show it with the blocks. With the blocks, I'm going to have one block on the low level and one on the medium for behind my head. Could also do up taller, okay, for a bigger opening. I'm going to put this one, the back one, below my upper back, not mid back, no, not mid back, and not shoulders. So it's got this sensation of chest lifting, arms coming down, shoulders coming down. Or you could be flat on the floor. When you're ready, make sure your neck feels supported, whatever you chose. Let's take a few sighs. See if you can feel for inhabiting your entire body right now. Like really bringing your awareness all the way down to your toes and your fingers. Noticing how your mind is doing.
And then when you're ready to, you can start to come out. If you're in the chest opener, you might want to bend the knees. And if you're using blocks, you'll need to tuck the chin and use your arms to help you come up. You can lie back down on your back just to get into neutral. If you're using the blanket, you can simply roll to the side and then come onto your back in neutral. Noticing how you feel again. And making your way to a seat whenever you're ready. And thanks for joining me today.